BBC Radio Sheffield.
Make a difference.
So, you're listening to Paulette. This is BBC Radio Sheffield, and hoarding stuff. Do you do it? Hanging on to things just because you can't bring yourself to check them out. I had some time at the weekend to look through stuff, and there were things that I thought, I'll just put them in a box. Not ready to get rid of that yet. So most of us do it to some degree, yet for others it can really blight their lives and create chaos in their homes. Well, a charity that helps people with hoarding disorder is now operating in South Yorkshire. Joe Cavalot from Hoarding Disorders UK explains what hoarding is.
Hoarding can often be very misunderstood. People think of it as just having a bit too much stuff, and often people will say, I'm a bit of a hoarder. But hoarding disorder itself is actually a mental health disorder as classified by the World Health Organization in 2018. And it is excessive clutter in a person's home, and it's often characterised by this excessive acquisition, so bringing lots of things in all the time, and then this difficulty discarding the items, regardless of their value. So some of the items that people wouldn't necessarily attribute a huge value to, inside rolls and toilet rolls, the bottle tops, things like that, that people wouldn't necessarily think were of a huge value, then often people who are affected by hoarding behaviours will see this as having a great value.
And Joe Cavalot from Hoarding UK is on the line now for a chat. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Paulette. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. And it's interesting, actually, that description, that explanation, bit of an explanation of what hoarding is. Just talk to us a little bit more about how it can affect our lives. I mean, it can clog up our homes, can't it?
Yeah, I think the hoarding disorder being a mental health disorder is an important thing that we're trying to raise the awareness of, because, like I say, people do sort of throw it around as a bit of a word that people use for having a bit too much stuff. But the extra bit on top of what I said about sort of acquiring items and difficulty discarding them is actually the effect it has on the people. So it will often mean that the rooms in people's houses can't be used for their intended purpose. So they may not be able to cook in their kitchen, that may be cluttered to the point that they can't actually use the kitchen, or sleep in their bedroom. Often people, may sleep on the sofa because they can't actually access their bedroom anymore, things like that. So it really, really does affect how people can use their homes. And one of the things you said at the beginning about, what's helped you during lockdown, you said the comfort of your home. And, for these people, that often their homes can be, very, very difficult to actually use and not very comfortable places to be in because of the amount of stuff that's in it. And that has a big impact on them, on their sort of, emotionally, and a lot of them are isolated, sort of trapped in their homes and not really going out to see people, not being able to invite people round, those kind of things.
And Joe, how can you help as a charity then? How do you untangle all of that?
Well, so we're a community interest company, and we've been established since 2014. The main office is based down in Thatcham. Joe Cook and Amanda Pete set up in 2014, and I came on board as a director last week, which combined with Hoarding Awareness Week, where we were trying to get the message out there. And we've got three different sorts of arms of the work that we do. We do one-to-one support with people, so we actually work with people in their homes to help them to deal with how they feel and actually getting rid of some of the items, which can be a very, very long, slow process. You've got to kind of realise that this stuff's often taken 30 years to build up, so it doesn't get sorted out overnight.
Is it quite emotional then, that sometimes?
Definitely, it's the stuff is really just a sort of symptom of what's going on. The causes why people hoard. Often a lot of it is to do with loss or bereavement, or loss of a job, redundancy, loss of a relationship, things like that. And when you've experienced that loss or any sort of trauma, really, what you can find is a real solace in stuff. Stuff is safe and it's not going to hurt me and it's not going to leave me. So it can start very small, just kind of having a little bit too much stuff. But then the more it builds up, you kind of create this sort of wall of safety around you, and that can be quite difficult to then break down that wall,
How has lockdown had an impact on all of this then, Joe?
I think a lot of people, who hoard, they can go out a lot. so they don't actually spend a lot of time in their homes. They're often out and about and, you know, going out to charity shops and seeing people and things like that. And, you know, obviously lockdown, they're not going to be able to do that. You know, and people often, they will, like I say, they can't necessarily use their homes for the things they're intended to. So if they can't cook in the kitchen, then they may eat out all the time. Or if they can't wash in their bathroom, they may go to the gym every day for a shower. And those things they won't be able to do at the minute. So the impact that it can be having on them is, you know, could be really substantial. And, you know, obviously if they are going out to sort of avoid being in the place, then, you know, that they're having to be there at the minute. And you know, I don't think we're going to understand the impact of that for a little while until we start to sort of come out of lockdown and really can assess what's happened as a result of it. You know, with people.
And Joe, if somebody actually needs your help, they're listening to this, they're thinking, oh, that's a little bit me. Oh, that, you know, this is resonating with me. What do they do? How do they contact you?
The best way is through the website. So Hoarding Disorders UK is the website, and through there there's the phone number, there's the emails, you know, and lots of different ways that people can get in touch with us. We're also on social media as well, so it's Hoarding Disorders UK. And we you know, we're absolutely happy to have conversations with anybody, and we are seeing a marked increase in calls at the minute, not just from people themselves but also from their families, because everybody who suffers, you know, and struggles with sort of hoarding behaviours, and there's numerous people around them that are affected by it as well, you know. So it isn't just the people themselves, and often the families, you know, are worrying and trying to do things and, you know, and don't know what the right thing to do is. But it affects between 2 and 5% of the population, so that could be as many as 1 in 20 people.
Significant.
You know, which makes it one of the biggest mental health disorders that we've got. So,
right. And to put it in that category as well is a big thing as well, of course, Joe. Joe, thank you very much for talking to us on BBC Radio Sheffield. Joe Cavalot from Hoarding UK, talking to us about hoarding. She said if you want more information, you can go to their website, which is Hoarding UK, Hoarding Disorders UK, for further information.